Hey everybody, it is Quicken, and welcome back to another episode of Tattoo Talk Tuesday. So please excuse the little hiatus. I believe it's been about 3 weeks since the last episode of Tattoo Talk Tuesday, but you know, stuff happens, and I only want to bring you guys the best and most thoughtful content and not something just off the top of my head really quickly in front of a camera. So today we're going to talk about a subject that has definitely been touched on this channel before and definitely maybe explored. Off the top of my head, I can think of it in definitely a 5 Fact Friday, definitely in some Ethan. But today, you know, explored or not on this channel, I think, you know, something I constantly think about and something that I have thoughts about that are always evolving, and my mind is always kind of changing about this subject, but it is going to be another episode about being visibly tattooed in a public setting. And I brought the question out to you guys on Twitter. You know, I said, how do you guys prefer to be approached by strangers about your tattoos? It's summer in Philadelphia. It's probably literally the hottest day so far out there. And, you know, even today, I'm visibly tattooed going outside. It's really hot out. And although I am somebody who makes a personal decision to be more covered, and that's just something I like, not necessarily based on like wanting to hide my body, but rather just like it is a style of clothes that I generally wear, stuff like that. Today, I want to talk about being visibly tattooed out in the public. And like I said, this isn't a subject that I've never discussed, but so probably about 2 weeks ago, I had like 3 weird situations happen like back to back to back in like a 3-day span. And I don't know, have you ever had something like so weird happen that you're like, I know that I'm on a TV show, and I know I'm on the Truman Show, and ratings must be low because they're really hitting me with everything they have. Why is my life so weird? A sip of water. A few weeks ago, I went to the suburbs, you know, to see my grandparents and stuff like that, and an old friend of mine picked me up from the train station, and her and I went to Wawa, which is like a deli convenience store kind of thing. So we're in the suburbs, we go to Wawa. I think I was wearing like a tattered t-shirt and a skirt, some sneakers, looking good. We go into the Wawa, and immediately a man tries to talk to me about my tattoos. And me, you know, I love Wawa. I go there all the time. I kind of have a strategy to how I like to shop there. I like to order my sandwich. And then once that's ordered, I like to get my drink, and then I like to look at the chips. Are you gonna get a chip? I'm not sure. I like to look. So I go into the Wawa, and I kind of like don't really notice this man who's trying to talk to me. Not because I'm an asshole, and that's kind of hard to explain in this story, but he tries to stop me, and I still continue to go on to order my sandwich. And as I finish, I walk over to the drinks, and my friend who picked me up, you know, she's not really a tattooed person, doesn't spend a lot of time with me to know that, like, I'm ordering a sandwich, sir. No time to chit-chat. I'm not really like that. So she stops me, and she's like, hey, that guy was trying to talk to you. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't know him. And I think that kind of turned my friend off. She was probably just like, this asshole has all these tattoos and isn't going to talk to people about it. So I move over to the drinks. And at the drinks, another person tries to talk to me. It was like I was playing Pokemon, and I kept getting attracted by all these trainers. So I'm at the drinks, and another person tries to talk to me. And to be honest, it was a woman. So I engaged her in something really lighthearted. Like, ha. After that, I went back to the cashier, where a third person, a mother and a son, talked to me. So 3 people, boop, 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 all try to engage me about my physical appearance while in a relatively small Wawa. So from my friend's perspective, you know, she's thinking I'm a huge bitch. Like, what's the hurry? Why are you hurrying, Philadelphia? Calm down. We're in the country now. Calm down. I recognize my friend's perspective. And after she is confronting me like, why were you so rude to the first guy who just tried to talk to you about tattoos? I was like, okay. So, when he tried to talk to me again, I engaged him. And I know all of this from an outside perspective. If you're watching this and you don't have tattoos, you just came onto my channel, and that's just how you feel. This story probably sounds really confusing to you, or, I don't know, greedy or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But, you know, in a 5-minute period, 3 people tried to engage me about my tattoos in a really small space while I was just trying to order a sandwich after I just got off a 2-hour train ride. So, when we went to the car, I apologized. I was like, hey, I'm really sorry that all that attention and stuff got stirred up. Honestly, that was almost embarrassing to me, especially because I haven't seen her for so long, and I didn't want her to pick me up from the train, and guns blazing, I'm like, damn, I'm a tattooed mama, and all eyes on me. I just wanted an honest tea, and a condiment sandwich, and then all this stuff happened. Fast forward to us leaving, and her dropping me back off at the train station. While we were there, this slug guy was like sitting on the steps, kind of like all spread out, taking up a ton of room on earth. And he stops us and he's like, hey girls. And my friend's like, hi. And I'm like, and he's like, you girls look like you like rock and roll. And already I was like, why did you interject our conversation to tell us that we like rock and roll? Why'd you do that? So my friend, says something too engaging. She's like, yeah. And I just don't say anything. And then he goes, I can tell from your look. Do you like Sid Vicious? And I was like, literally, my train is about to come, and I'm saying goodbye to a friend I probably will never see again, and this dude right now. So he keeps engaging us, and I turn around and really nicely I'm like, I'm trying to have a private conversation with my friend. And my friend is like, whoa, 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 it's okay, guys, relax. And I'm kind of just like, okay, here's another example of me just trying to hang out with a friend who I haven't seen in a really long time, and me being like heavily tattooed has engaged a stranger, and they have now interrupted our conversation, interrupted my life, and now my friend is feeling really defensive on both senses because, does she like Sid Vicious? Like, I don't know. So I'm like, hey, let's walk further down the train platform. We keep going, and another lady is like, oh, I like those tattoos, as we walk by, and I'm just like, wow, I'm feeling so fucking embarrassed. Sorry you had to hang out with Tat Mom of the Century for a nice evening to my friend, who probably went home to the countryside and was like, you can't take Amanda anywhere now that she's tattooed. So all in all, super fucking long story. In a 12-hour span, being tattooed, like, lit up all these conversations for me, ping, 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 while I was in the suburbs. But in Philadelphia, where I live, in a more urban setting, I'm not as often stopped to be engaged as I am, like, catcalled or, like, tat-called. So I feel like it's a much different experience in the suburbs, where in the suburbs people are trying to stop and talk to me, like, what are you doing? And in the city, people are like, I see your tattoos, girl. So, I don't know, it's so different. But I was talking to my friend Akira last night, who said something along the lines of, I'm so happy that tattoos are so mainstream because I was treated with a ton of respect in Nordstrom yesterday. And I was like, dude, Akira, but whenever you want to come to Philly, it's a little bit different here. They're still gonna follow you around the Nordstrom here. So it's this interesting idea that I have all the time where I want to be shouting at the top of my lungs, like, I'm not mad that I'm tattooed. I'm mad about the social experience I have as being a tattooed person. And I know that that rarely ever translates. And I even got an ask on Tumblr like 2 weeks ago that was like, hey Quicken, I never understood why you were so upset about people coming to you and asking you about your tattoos and not being nice about it until I got my own tattoo and then realized what you were talking about. And it's hard because you want to receive messages like that and be like, told ya. But at the same time, you're like, wow, how many people think I'm crazy? And how many people would rather not sympathize with just like what I'm saying and would rather be like, okay, ease up, you got these tattoos. Now engage with every single stranger at the Wawa one at a time in order to fulfill their needs over your own. It's insane. So I went out on Twitter and I asked you guys, how would you like to be approached? And I can't tell you how overwhelmingly most of you guys said, I don't want to be approached. And I would say 75% of the commentary is that. Even Katie Thurks, the author of Love Hate Zine, messaged me privately and said, I don't want to be approached. And this is somebody who creates a ton of tattoo influence content. And she's telling you, hey, I create this content, I look a certain way, don't approach me if I don't know you. And it goes so beyond that. And so many of you said, it's okay as long as you don't touch me. And it's terrifying to me that you have to add that subtext. As long as you don't touch me, please. So I shared this story with somebody else and I shared it on my Tumblr. So a few weeks ago, I was outside of a coffee shop. You know, it was one of the first nicer days. I was wearing the skirt I'm wearing today, you know, nice linen, light material, skirt. And I decided to drink my coffee outside. Little legs are showing, little vitamin D. And this man comes up to me and sits at my table and he looks at me up and down and he says, don't you think that's too many tattoos? And I was thinking, I was enjoying my iced coffee. I was enjoying the summer. I was enjoying my day off. I was enjoying the breeze. Who the fuck are you? So I look at him. Don't you think that's too many tattoos? Not hi, hello. Not how you doing? This is my name. I live in the neighborhood. Noticed you. Nothing. Starting a sentence off with don't. Don't you think that's too many tattoos? So I looked at him and I was like, all the time. And he was like, oh, I don't think there's anything that I would ever get tattooed. And I'm like, cool. That's cool. Thanks for stopping me to tell me that you look down on something that I'm clearly doing and I didn't even know you before. Then the guy asked me for my phone number. So that's what made me so angry, because it's like, he came over, he talked down to me, he invaded my personal space by sitting at my table when I was trying to have a private girl time, talked down to me, tried to interject that he's better than me. There's nothing I would ever get tattooed. Trying to fuck? Trying to hook up? Can I get your number? Love to see you naked. Maybe you can convince me that tattoos aren't so bad. Let me see the rest of that back tattoo. I think that is an example of like a man potentially fetishizing me and something I'm doing. But still, what the fuck? Leave me alone! Don't talk to me! Don't pick on, like, don't try to pick me up, first of all, by talking down to me too. Oh, yes, what else do you hate about me, sir? Why would you drink a hot coffee? It's 90 degrees. So strange. And then, a few weeks later, I was talking to some of the people at the coffee shop, and they said that he just, like, does that all the time. Is it working? God damn. This is turning into a giant rant. However, I wanted to think constructively about ways I would like to be approached. Obviously, the consensus is never. But a lot of you guys said that you would prefer to be approached via compliment. And I definitely agree with that. I think having tattoos and definitely working in service industry, like, it breaks a lot of tension, just the same way as like wearing a fucking Kesha t-shirt would. People be like, oh, is that Kesha's shirt? What's going on with Kesha? Same thing as like, oh, is that a traditional tattoo? Do you watch Ink Master? I don't know. But there are different ways that I prefer to be approached, and honestly, you guys might not want to hear it, but the number one way is I would rather not be approached. And maybe it's because I was very overwhelmed in the suburbs when I was approached 3 times in 1 minute. Or 2, I am feeling really biased because I am approached on a prowling kind of level with my tattoos in a way that like makes me feel like shit, and then I associate that feeling with my tattoos and that feels worse. But I still want to ask you guys, how would you ideally want to be approached? I feel like the positives aren't very often. And a lot of you guys said, you know, I'm a cashier and people ask me about my tattoos so much, it diminishes them, it novelizes them. And I definitely agree. You know, if you don't know, I had words tattooed on my arm that I had removed because people would read them all the time, and I would just hear them being read over and over, and I was like, don't say them again. So, I don't know. I don't know what this right answer is. And constantly before, I thought it was me and the conflict was me, and people would say like, you're crazy because you got these public adornments on your physical body, and now men want to sexualize them and you have to let them. But I'm not sure. So here it is. How would I ideally like to be approached? Never. Or if I'm like having small talk with somebody and there's already like some sort of ice being broken, you know, if I'm shampooing a client, if I'm in close quarters with somebody, if I'm waiting in line with somebody, some sort of like icebreaker has to be established. We can't just be walking past each other on the street and someone's like, ma'am, can I see that, the rest of that tattoo on your upper leg? It has to be like, I don't know, some sort of familiarity has to be established. Preferably. I'm not saying if you see me on the street and you want to talk to me, you better stand next to me on the subway. But it's the intrusiveness and the invitation that exists to talk to me as a tattooed person that just makes me feel weird. And somebody messaged me, and I really like the way they said it. They said, hey, you know, I feel like I represent tattooed people when people approach me, so I always want to be polite. And that's something I've said on this channel as well, and it's something that I try to withhold as well. You know, I always try to be super nice to people, and if somebody approaches me genuinely with just like hope in their heart, and they are honest and nice, and it's not malicious, and it's not sexually driven, like, I definitely pick up on that, and I'm responsive to it. But other than that, I don't really know, so I open it up to you guys. You know, summer is here, and it's something I'm conflicted with all the time, but it constantly changes and adapts. And, you know, when I was younger and I had a shaved head or was like dressing in all punk clothes, people would approach me and try to talk to me, or like talk me out of my lifestyle or talk down to my lifestyle, and that happened all the time. And when I had red, orange, yellow, purple hair in middle school, you know, I would be at the supermarket, or I would be walking down the street or going to work, and grown women would stop me all the time and tell me, your hair is gonna fall out if you keep dyeing your hair all these colors. Strangers, people I didn't know. And then I went to hair school and I was like, no, it fucking won't. You get more highlights than I do. And then as I got a little bit older and became vegan, people constantly tried to talk me out of being vegan. And it was like a little more private information unless I had a vegan shirt on. But all the time, people are always like, you better stop being vegan or else you'll die and your bird bones will crumble up into dust. And I was like, oh my god. And now it's like being a tattooed person, a fucking guy on the street at an indie coffee shop, mind you. What are you doing here? Don't you think that's too many tattoos? I guess. I don't know. It wasn't a problem until you interrupted me. So, until one moment ago, I did not think that. So it's crazy, and it's a crazy conflict, and I know that this is all over the place, but this is a very talk-heavy episode where I just don't know where my thoughts are. Because the public opinion is that I should service people who have questions about my lifestyle. And then the oppositional is, hey, I didn't want to be approached when I was 14 and you told me my hair was going to fall out, and now I don't want to be approached about what's next. I don't know. So I think my final thought is, if I am approached in a non-malicious way, like genuine curiosity, a question, like when I used to work at the coffee shop, they would always tease me because this one guy one time recognized my tattoo at the coffee shop, and he was like, is that a Mark Cross tattoo? And then all the other baristas at my coffee shop after that would be like, oh my god, is that a Mark Cross? But when the guy approached me like that, you know, I was into it, because I was like, yeah, it is. So, I don't know. But it's kind of like, as me, a woman, someone could approach me and be like, damn, you're sexy, honey, I'm trying to, and I'd be like, ugh. But if someone was like, oh, your hair is like really nice, what do you use? What color is that? I would be like, oh, how much time do you have? So I don't really know. I guess if you approach me and maybe other tattooed people who have a similar opinion in a nice way, I'm more responsive to it. But if you talk down to me, it makes me feel more reserved. It makes me feel reluctant to talk to people in the future. It makes me feel reluctant to, you know, stretch my legs at the coffee shop that I love to go to. It makes me feel weird to see friends from high school who might not necessarily know that I am tattooed, and our hangouts are disrupted by 3 people in 1 minute, and Sid Vicious, I don't know. But I thought it was very interesting to see so many of you say, I don't want to be approached, because I thought that that was a burdening thought that I had to digest and represent tattooed people to the fullest extent of my ability, and always be nice and kind and laugh off people saying really rude things about me. Ha ha ha, yes, I would fuck me too. Ha ha, tatted, yeah, okay, see ya. Like, so all in all, I felt a lot of comfort in that. And I think that that is a developing kind of notion that, honestly, I'm here for. And I'm here for all of us protecting one another and supporting that thought that I don't get tattoos to parade around my neighborhood and get stopped every 5 feet. I do it because I spend time with my own body and feel safe inside of this. And I like the way this looks. This looks good. For me. So I don't know. Let me know how you feel, you know, are you excited that it's becoming a more public and popular opinion to be like, don't talk to me about my tattoos? Because the last time I talked about this subject on my channel, I felt like it was received really poorly, and I was nervous to bring it up again, but like I said, it is a constant evolving thought. I will leave a link to my Twitter post so you guys can read through all of the content. It's all really amazing, and I would love to share the perspective of every single person who commented on it, so definitely check that out. I love you guys. Stay tuned for Tattoo Talk Tuesday. It should be a really great summer. Don't ever hesitate to leave Tattoo Talk suggestions down in the comments. And you can always check out the Tattoo Talk Tuesday playlist. There are over, like 70 episodes. So your question may have been answered before, but it doesn't mean that it's not an evolving question just like this one, where I can revisit it again as I get a little older, a little wiser, a little new haircut. Who knows? I love you guys so much. Thank you again for participating in the episode, and keep the discussion going in the comments below. I love you guys. Until next time, bye.